Starting in 3, 2, 1. Hey guys, welcome to Boots on the Ground episode 2. I am your host Gimbal B, otherwise known as Starfire Revo, and this week we are bringing back Kane Sparrow and Cerebral Wolf. How's it going, guys?
Not bad at all, mate.
And also joining us this week we have Quick Gloves.
What's up, guys?
And Genza.
Hello.
So, before we get into sort of tournament stuff that's been happening and looking back at those kinds of things, I want to go over some news that's been going on this week. So the first thing is Cerebral Wolf has actually managed to break the game and got CCP to react to the Dust 321 scandal.
Yeah, I'm a bit disappointed about that, actually. I thought, maybe they'd keep it in as a sort of intended feature.
Well, it's, for right now, it seems like they're going to be solving the AFK SP issue, as well as the friendly grenade fire at the same time. So,
yeah, but
I guess they're level, they're equalizing each other out,
but
so to speak.
This is Eve. This is New Eden. We're meant to be able to police things ourselves.
There should be no they should always have friendly fire. I mean, you should be able to kill your teammate if you need to. That's my opinion.
I'm actually playing game right now and running around just grenade killing people.
I would. I like running people over. If I don't, I'll be in game and see a corp or see a dude that I've had issues with. I'll just run him over.
But yeah, how much enjoyment have you been getting out of that since we just talked about it last week?
It spread really, really quickly. Just browsing the forums and stuff. I mean, obviously, I still can't post on there till tomorrow, but just looking at people's posts and things, even people talking about it in AFK farming threads and stuff, it's pretty widespread now that people are doing it all over the place. And just that must be the case if CCP's even gone on file and, they've said in a thread where they discuss bugs and things that they're looking into it, so...
I was having a funny conversation with Nova earlier. Yesterday, sorry. And he was AFK SPing in the MCC. And I was just playing a couple of games with something else, and he sort of said, "Hey, there's someone trying to kill me with the grenade here." And what he was doing is that he was pretending to be AFK, just standing in the corner. And the moment he'd come in close for the grenade, he'd run away, having the guy trying to kill him to blow himself up. And apparently he did this several times until Nova got the very bright idea to basically go to this forward-facing ladder in his red zone and just stay halfway up. There was nothing that the other guy could do because he was actually watching the other guy trying to find a way of getting up and killing him, but it just wasn't working.
See, I don't even bother doing that now. I just follow people around. If I see anybody in half armor, that's it. I'll just pull a grenade out and blow myself up. But, that's the sort of person I am.
Yeah, I'm too KDR driven. I'll just run you over.
At the end, I think he managed to get 2 kills on Nova and about 7 kills on himself just by trying to blow him up with the grenade.
Yeah, I see. I've just lost us the match that I'm in right now just from randomly blowing people and myself up. We've run out of clones.
Wow.
Oops.
I found a couple of glitches that were kind of interesting, but I never really moved on them. We were laughing at the fact that corps could go in and just drive their kill counts up just by going in there and, obviously just playing for the kills. So you could take, say, 8 of you guys have alts or you have friends that really don't care about your KDRs and things. You have them set a corp up, then you have back-to-back corp matches. It's 170 some kills per match. You just drive your kill count up and your KDR skyrockets.
Yeah, that's always been possible, but no one really, as far as I know, very little people really give a shit.
Well, I saw one guy with a 327 KDR. I was like, how'd you do that?
Yeah,
it's very easy to do that. We figured it was possible right at the beginning of the build, but right at the beginning when you were first able to make court matches, we were pretty sure you'd be able to do that. But we just couldn't be asked simply because there's no real point.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of effort just for a tiny little bit of EP swinging in a really small community in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, that's like that unlimited ISK glitch. That's just a lot of time for not a lot of payoff.
And you think, well, I mean, like, people, I see people talking about it's KDR being like this great way of advertising yourself. But if you see someone who has like a 500 to 1 KDR, you're going to be a little suspect about how they got that.
Oh god, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I got an email asking me to do an interview for Dustmerks a couple of days ago, and I finally got back to him yesterday. And one of the things that they were questioning me about is Goon's apparent complete contempt for KDR and typical FPS stats and that sort of thing. And they were just asking why we feel that way. And you know, I don't see people's points in. At the end of the day, it's just a figure.
Well, that's like saying that
Yep,
you look at an EVE pilot's kill mails and you're a PvP alliance. This is a PvP or an FPS game, and that's what KDR matters besides your win-loss. So just like an EVE pilot checking your kill mails to find out if you're good enough to join a PvP alliance, FPS clans are going to check your KDR and your win-loss to see if you're good enough to join an FPS corps.
Yeah, but the point
That's why
still
it's there.
stands. A, we're not a PvP corps. B, we don't give a shit about KDR
goons
in
in general.
in
Yeah,
EVE.
goons in general. I understand goons, but it's different for 95% of the rest of the community.
But when it's a statistic that can very easily be forged, then there's no real point.
It's certainly a lot easier.
That's why
to,
win losses as well. I mean, you go on your
Yeah.
you take multiple avenues of
Even that can be
going through
forged.
security checking.
You could just
It's
do
an
battles,
interesting
just do
point.
battles, and then just you could
To me,
just do
it's
loads
just-
of battles anyway.
It's just so much time for something that doesn't matter. I mean, it's important in some respects in terms of maybe recruiting and that sort of thing, but just like you said, if you see someone with a 500 to 1 KDR, I mean, you know that's not legit just right off the bat. It just automatically out of the gate.
Well,
But-
Quick Gloves has just raised quite something a little bit more interesting, I think. I mean, it's a lot more difficult to game the system in EVE than it is in Dust, because in EVE you get kill mails for each individual kill. You can go and look at it. You can see that somebody's killed 500 fucking noob ships against in Dust, where all those 500 kills are against a single corp that's been set up specifically for that reason.
Hopefully soon. Yeah. I'm going back to Cerebral's mention about Dustmerks. They came into ILC not too long ago and tried to ask me questions, and I made it quite clear a long time ago that I was never going to do any with Dustmerks ever. And after about 10 minutes of getting no response from any of us, he said, and I can quote, "Okay, I'll just have to do what I do best then and just make something up."
Question is, was it Dustmerks though? Because there's definitely a troll going around pretending to be them on the forums. I mean, it wouldn't take much for somebody like that to jump into IRC either.
It's possible, but I've got the quote and I've got everything else, so
Yeah.
if need be, I can summon that quote and even screenshots it and everything.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what Dustmerks do about that, because technically that other person is impersonating them on the forums, so they could get that account banned, but whether they will or not, I don't know.
Stuff depends.
But yeah,
So who wants to give me
Dust 3 to
some-
1, fun times.
Yes, fun times. Even if it was a short duration.
Yeah, I can't believe it, it's been a week before it was publicly outed, and I would give it probably another week before CCP fixes it. So if you're listening to this, go blow people up where you've got the chance.
Go join the Team Killers. Have fun.
Yeah. And then when they patch that, do it in a lab, just switch seats as you're about to run somebody over.
Yeah, that's how I do it.
It's been around for ages now.
Yep,
Yeah, but
that's the best, though.
still. Yeah.
It's more epic if you switch seats out of a dropship. You have a dropship hovering just above someone.
Oh, dude. Oh, my God. I have videos that I can't put up, unfortunately, because of closed beta build NDA and all that crap. Well, I have videos of people joining STB in closed beta, and they're like, how do you get in the dropship? I'm just like, just stand right here. Stand right here. So I'd call one in. I'd have, like, 5 or 6 guys just standing there waiting. I'd call it right in. I'm like, come a little forward, a little further forward. Look, come on, one step to the left. That dropship would drop and kill every fucking one of them. I'd be like,
But
welcome
that's
to the
actually
core.
how. That was the first thing that we were doing to grief pubbies in public matches was to call in lavs and things on snipers set up in the middle of nowhere. We'd just call in a lav and then run away and carry on with the game and just let it drop on them.
It's so funny when it does it too. You gotta admit that's probably one of the funniest things in the game that happens is when you just see somebody running and LAV just drops on their head. Bang!
It's ridiculously embarrassing when your own vehicle drops on your head.
Yes.
Yes.
So funny.
Yeah.
I love it.
Oh, I think the most annoying one of those I've ever had, I was in a dropship with someone, I was doing gunnery, and someone calls a lav in on us, and it kills us, and I just see the lav driving off into the distance as I'm lying there dead.
The worst one for me was, I think it was during a corp match, actually. The dropship dropped in, I was nowhere near it, and it bounced off the ground, and then slid, and then just smashed me and rolled over me. And I was like, oh, thank you, RGB pilot.
Do you guys know who Lurchosaurus and Ted Nugent are?
Ted I know of.
Yeah, 10.
Well, they're HAV pilots in STB, and I was laughing because we're sitting there bullshitting in a game one time. They both call in tanks at the same time. Now, this was a couple builds ago, so they had tiered out missile tanks. So they call these tanks in, they're worth a little bit of ISK, and they're all yelling at each other. They're like, why'd you call yours in first? Mine's supposed to come in, blah, blah, blah. Here come the ballasts. Both of them, head-on collision. Boom! Killed Lurch, Ted, me, both tanks, both ballasts. That's when I put the controller down. I was like, I'm done for the day. Forget it.
Rage quit.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
That's why you should never fly a dropship in a OMS as well, because the supply depot is coming down on top of you while you're flying around.
Oh no, I never thought of that. That must be really fucking hilarious.
I wonder
to
what
see.
happens if something hits you.
I've seen it once. I've seen a dropship once, and then I've also seen there was an infantryman just walking along.
I've had that.
The supply depot just came out of nowhere, and it's like a cartoon with an anvil being
I
dropped.
told my wife.
It actually happened to me once. That I was just running along, and all of a sudden a big ass railgun slammed on my head.
My
And
wife
you're like, he's like crushed.
The strange thing is that it only took off half my shields.
Did any of you guys ever try mag out with the red line? You guys have ever heard of the red line in any game? Usually it's like, it's the forbidden zone, like we have the red zone in Dust. Well, my wife has seen me play mag, and she knows about the red line, that you get killed if you pass the red line for too long. So she asked me, she goes, is there a red line in this game? And I said, no, there's a red zone. And she goes, well, what happens? And I was like, well, you get hit in the head with a spaceship. And she didn't believe me. So I run out into the red zone, and here comes a spaceship. She thought it was the coolest thing in the world. She was like, that's awesome. I told her she could start her own account and ruin the KDR. Just getting hit in the head all day with spaceships.
I wonder, is there a specific time when things come down in OMS? And like specific places for each thing
Yes,
at a certain time?
I'm not sure if it's actually all of the stuff will come in on particular locations. I don't know if it's actually particularly in the same order, but I do know that the installations will always drop in the same places, and they'll always be the same installations.
Okay.
Well, that's interesting. I don't play enough OMS to find out myself personally. I tend to stick to skirmish.
That's
Well, one of the things that's interesting about it is if you think about it, if we ever get control to drop in like supply depots and stuff,
you could kill people with them.
Exactly. Well, if you got a tank that's camping, you just drop a supply depot right on its head
Do some
and
damage.
blow it up.
Oh my god, that could be so much fun.
Yeah, that would piss people off more than orbitals on tanks.
Oh,
Considering it's only taking out half my shields.
You gotta drop something bigger, like a CRU. That would be some funny shit.
yeah, not only are we going to kill you,
You could
we're
block
going
his
to
ass
spawn
in,
on top
drop
of your
4
corpse.
around him, lock him in like a pen.
A corralled hat.
Yeah, we just corralled the tank. Get him. Spam AV grenades.
The supply depots are right there.
Yep, you're good.
Oh, there's going to be so many things that go wrong when they let us start doing stuff like that. Like people surrounding points with the CRUs so you can't get into them and stuff like that.
I'm pretty sure it'll be like a limiting factor, and what I imagine is that it'll probably involve like warpoint drops, like OBs perhaps.
Well, you hope so.
I hope so. Yeah. I mean, what I imagine is like you can have there'll be like a interface leader showing how many war points your squad has, and then you can spend those on either installations or OBs, etc.
Why does it have to be war point based though?
Because then it would just be a bit ridiculous.
Yeah, but nullsec is meant to be ridiculous.
Yeah, but for example, pub games perhaps. I mean, yeah, sure. In
Yeah.
perhaps in nullsec would be a bit more free game, but at least in pub matches, having that limiting factor would definitely stop the QQ.
Pub matches, I guess I can understand that, but I tend to think of everything in terms of nullsec, if I'm honest, for some reason. I think it's just force of habit.
Nullsec, and we don't have it yet.
Well, yeah, I know, but I live in nullsec, you know.
I think that's what they're going to do, though, is they're going to have it, restricted it to you can't really do it in high sec. Then they're going to have it war point based in low, and then when you get out to null, it's going to be much more kind of hands off. The resources will determine kind of what happens in the match, whether that be clone count or how many supply depots you drop in. Maybe you're only limited by the resources you can bring to the table.
One thing I was trying to push to, I made a suggestion thread about a while ago, is also allow Eve pilots to fire down installations as they would orbital bombardments, and have that sort of tiered rating where you can get the basic ones from the market, and then the powerful ones are the ones that the Eve pilots can send down.
That could be interesting, actually. That could be really interesting. That could change things significantly in more serious games. Yeah,
because I just think right now, I mean, I've actually been speaking to Eve pilots about this as well, who've provided orbital support for us, and they said they've done it before and it's pretty boring. I mean, the only reason they find it interesting with us is that we stream all of our games so that they can actually see their orbitals coming in, and that's the only thing that really is remotely interesting. I mean, in essence, an Eve pilot is really just waiting for something to pop up and pressing the fire button. It's pretty boring.
Yeah. Push button, receive bacon.
Yeah.
Yeah, they actually. Yeah, I remember that came up on subreddit before, actually, when someone posted a video where it was a split screen of what's going on the ground and what's going on in space. So I think, that's something that could definitely add more, because it is a very dry process right now. It's very slick. It doesn't really mess up at all, but it is also at the same time very dry, because all you do is
that's probably one of the reasons that they're working on kill mails right now, so that Eve pilots have at least got something tangible for it.
Yeah, it's just the whole thing. Unless the Eve pilot can actually see what's going on at the time, which is what we try to do when we have orbital support, it's just a bit boring. They are just pretty much sitting there in a very, very cheap ship, waiting to be killed or waiting for a little thing to pop up. So having that little bit of extra functionality, even just like having an option to do different things.
You'd imagine, though, it's going to get more interesting for Eve pilots as more of these larger corps start putting boots on the ground, because there's going to be Eve engagements that will keep you from dropping the actual bombs. Like the other day when we played Pro Hic Immortal, I flew out into the system in an alt, realized they had a 7-man fleet camped on the actual location. I said, screw it, I'm not just going to go out here and get popped real quick. So I went back, tried to get people to come out there for me to fight the other fleet, then drop the orbital support. It's going to get more interesting, and Eve pilots have the idea, or when they come out to nullsec, they're guaranteed fights. Faction warfare, I'm not too familiar with. I try to stay away from it. I have people in charge of that for me. But I would imagine that these Eve pilots that are fighting for both sides are going to be fighting upstairs as we fight on the ground. And, winner drops the bombs. So you might have an orbital, but you're not going to have anybody up there to support it because they all got blown out of the water by the enemy.
Yeah,
I think that's a really valid point, actually, because definitely as things heat up and there's more risk involved and more
Whoa. Somebody mark the time and date. Cerebral thinks I had a valid thought.
1945, the 2nd of March, 2013.
Woohoo!
Hey, I've always given credit where credit's due. Don't be that harsh. Come on. If I agree with somebody, I've always held my hand up and agreed with them. I always admit when I'm wrong as well. But yeah, no, I do agree. As things progress and we get a lot more risk involved, and Eve pilots have got more interest in what's going on, and they have to fight over resources and things. I think we will have more for these pilots to do.
Especially if we're fighting over moons. If they give us the ability to fight for moons, high-end moons, alliances will go to war over high-end, like us, a system with high-end moons in it.
I don't think we'll ever have moon control. But I just
Even
think the
planets,
main
though.
point is
Planets give the resources for building their structures that they all have out there, so they don't have to keep flying back and forth in the Empire.
Yeah, I think we're going
Fitting.
to see a different set of resources on the
Yeah.
planets.
I mean, I think it's just a bit anything to improve the link, because I mean, at the moment the Eve Dust link is simply communication and orbital bombardments.
Yeah.
And that is it.
There has to be tangible economic reasons for the games to interact. And it really does.
Although, going back to the faction warfare thing, before I moved to Subreddit and before I was playing Dust, I was actually in the Galente militia. And we were actually really looking forward to the whole mechanic of like having a place to fight and a set time. Like, because it was actually like we'd be roaming around like 20 systems looking for fights. But court battles are a set place and a set time, so like that
Yes,
idea
Guaranteed
actually.
fleet war. Yeah, guaranteed fleet war. You
'Cause
know
you
they're going
had-
to be there.
Because both
13
sides
minutes.
wanted to fight, they just didn't have a place for it.
Yeah, that's actually for the tournament today. It's actually being tied in to a Dust OB event, so it's actually going to be broadcast out what the system is, where the tournament matches are going on at, and actually it's going to be open to other corporations putting their matches in the same system as well.
Oh, that's good that you've tied those in together.
Yeah, it's and also trying to tie it into some of the recent story stuff too. So it's going to be I'll be announcing it later on, but and you know, hopefully the pilots seem to have gotten a kick out of it. I know I got a couple of Amarian pilots that just love. They don't get kill mails, but they get the combat log, and they love having the combat log from blowing up dusters on the ground. That's something I think if you get a formalized kill mail, there will be a lot of people who hunt dusters just for that kill mail, because I mean
I'll
that's
do
a
it
driver.
myself, to be honest with you. When I'm on in-game, I'd quite happily go and just do it, if I can get kill mails and stuff out of it. Especially if it's going to show up on things like Eve Kill and whatnot.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, well, we have one more bit of news before I want to go into some like tournament stuff that Kane's been doing, and that's the controller segregation debate, I guess you could call it, that's come up recently. Kane, do you want to start this off since you were directly involved?
Well, basically the feedback came out, and part of it, I mean, it seemed like a lot of really good stuff, but there was kind of something snuck in there where they had basically announced that they'd be taking into account controller type when they're matchmaking. Now, on the surface, that seems very innocuous, but if you look into it, it really opens kind of Pandora's box for segregating the controller types and segregating the community. I mean, even if it's just for the initial pub matches, putting up artificial walls, even if it's the players choosing to be behind those walls, it's just not. It's the antithesis of what the sandbox is and what New Eden is, because we're all here in the same universe together, and we all kind of get thrown into the mix. So it's I just can't imagine that being a good path for CCP to travel down.
No, I think they need to balance things properly rather than keep things separate. I mean, especially if things aren't going to be balanced and you're going to go into court matches using a PlayStation pad, and then suddenly you're against a bunch of people who are using keyboards and mouse, and it's not balanced, and they're going to have an advantage for whatever reason.
What about the master race like me who use all three at the same time?
Can you use both at the same time?
Yes.
No, you can use all three. You can actually have a controller by the side. I use the move little what's it called? Not the actual wand thing in the other one, and then the mouse on the other. And I have my gamepad by the side when I really need, because the different weapons are better with different control types, and I find that the precision weapons are better with the mouse. But for example, the HMG is better with the controller, but
the heavy machine gun's better with the controller, really.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I think, anyway. And from practice. And
so I've not used a mouse and keyboard myself yet. I've actually just ordered one. Well, I just ordered a decent keyboard and mouse yesterday, and they're going to arrive on Monday for me to try out. But I've only used the DualShock so far.
Well, to me, one of the things that's always been awesome about the game is somebody could start on a DualShock controller, switch to a mouse and keyboard, and then go straight to a move in the same match. Within I've actually tested it before. You can actually, within a 1 minute span, switch between all three controlling input devices, and then go back. I mean, to me, the freedom of input is one of the things that's very unique about this game.
I suppose it's quite nice that you can do it, but I can't imagine it being very practical.
Well, actually, from what I understand, from what people have told me, using the move controller with the small turrets apparently is quite good.
Yes.
And what I quite like is that sometimes when I'm just using the controller, I'll have like the mouse by my feet, and if I'm using my heavy, because of course the heavy turns very slowly, I just use my feet to swing the mouse, turning around really fast and killing someone.
Yeah.
So what you're telling us is you play Dust with your feet? You are so pro.
I've actually at one point I've had a DS3 in one hand and a mouse in the other hand when operating a small turret, and I actually have the sensitivity set at different levels, so you can turn at different rates depending on what input device you're using.
I've only ever played with the controller.
I mean,
DualShock.
to me, sometimes I just want to sit back and use the controller. Sometimes I want to actually. Most recently, I've switched to a trackball. And trying that out.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's because to me, I like the mouse is interesting, but to me, I feel like it's the mouse doing a lot of the work for a trackball since it's an analog input. It's very much, I feel like I'm more involved in the game by using that kind of device because it still has the feel of a DS3 stick in terms of because you are physically manipulating it yourself rather than, I don't know, this is kind of the way I feel about it. In terms of that controller input.
Here's me thinking the game's already really deep and complicated, and you guys are using 3 or 4 different fucking input methods all at the same time. Just making it even more complicated than it already is.
It complicates a bit more easy.
Well, I can't comment because I've not tried it. And as I say, I'm only going to try the keyboard and mouse myself next week.
Comment when you've had the controller by your feet.
Have the move controller in your teeth.
No, the other way around.
I really do think they need the move needs love though. The move, I mean, it's they've definitely made some improvements, but what I think they really need to do is they need to have a way. What I've heard about in some games, I think it was Sokum, but I'm not sure. Is you would have the move controller, the sharpshooter set up, and there was a button you could press that would completely eliminate the dead zone, and any movement you make while that button is pressed is for turning. Because right now you have to go to the edge of the screen to turn, but instead you hit the button and then everything is turning your character. So you
now,
basically,
if only Zion Shad had actually turned up, he could have answered that question for us because he's a SOCOM player. But no, he didn't want to come and play with the big boys today.
Wow, just calling him out. No big deal.
I'm staying out of this. If he wants to come on, he can come on.
Hi, Zion! I like Zion.
Hey, I've not got a problem with him, but, you know. Sorry, back on topic.
Back on topic. Personally, I use a keyboard. I could actually show it on here. That doesn't actually have arrow keys on it. It's a bit of a weird one. So I have to use the controller to do any kind of menu thing, just because WASD doesn't actually let you change through suits. So I use this.
Oh Jesus, what is that?
It's,
I can't actually see your video for some reason.
That's crazy. I've seen people. I've heard players using stuff like that. To me, rather than closing things down, they need to open it up more and allow basically custom mappable controls. I know that's something that they consider. I think there's something they're working on. I think.
Yeah, they said that's going to take quite a lot of work though, so it's going to be quite a while until we see it. But I know it is something that they've mentioned they're working on.
I mean, to me, that would be because if you could take a DS3 and map any controller button that you want, like I want square to do this. I don't need push to talk, so I can use that key to do this function instead. I mean, or then I can go through and I can say, oh, well, I've got this mouse here, so let me go through and make the right button, have this function, and make the left button do this function. Or I can go through and take the move controller and say, oh, I want this. So you could end up with a situation where you have the Navi controller in your right hand, you have a mouse in the other, or anything in between. because to me, opening up the playing field in terms of allowing any control input you choose is something that, to me, in the long run, will be better for the health of the game. Especially, and you need to keep all those people mixed in together, because if you try to make people get used to not playing against people with different input types, and then all of a sudden they're in low-sec or null-sec, and then all of a sudden they're playing against people with a different input that may have a perception of being better or perception of being worse, then
they're going to be at a severe disadvantage. Things are going to change.
You're creating an institutional mind. You're from basically by starting at the very beginning of the game, creating segregation. What it does is it instills it in the player's mind that these inputs are different and unequal.
Well, not only that, but they're also going to get used to going up against people with specific playstyles who use just one specific input type. You know, they're not going to be as accurate with the DS3 as they would be with a mouse, for example. And then all of a sudden they're going to go up against a bunch of people who are a lot more accurate than what they're used to, because they're going against a corp that uses specifically just keyboard and mouse input for whatever reason.
To me, I actually liked, before it used to be that people complained that it was too sluggish, but for me, I actually liked when the mouse was limited in its turn speed. It was limited a good bit more. I think what they need to do is they need to take a look at it, and because I like the fact that it adds a balance feature if you make it to where a heavy suit can only turn so fast. A scout suit can turn faster. I think that's something that adds a level of depth to the gameplay rather than just saying, okay, everybody turns at the same speed.
I agree. I agree with you on that. It's just an extra mechanic that people have got to factor into their suit choices or whatever, or their fitting choices. But I think is that right then, basically, that what Gimbal was saying, that you can use pretty much any USB input device then in terms of a keyboard, regardless of whether it's just a standard keyboard or whatever it is?
Yeah, and not only that, you can actually you can use there's actually several wireless input methods, radio wireless devices that work. I mean, there's a huge gamut because of, I think, partially because of the Unreal 3 engine and partially because the PS3 supports different input types just through the operating system. I think it just, there's just a lot of freedom in terms of your controller input, and that to me is something that's really neat about.
That's annoyed me a little now, because I deliberately ignored some options which I thought were pretty cool because I wasn't sure if they'd work on the PS3. Like the something similar to what we were shown a few minutes ago. That mini little keyboard thing. I saw something similar and thought that would be pretty cool, but I had no idea that it would work, so I didn't bother. And it was cheaper than what I ended up buying anyway. So I could just save myself some money.
An actual keyboard version of this as well, which has like a built-on keyboard to the side, which I kind of wish I was using. I have one somewhere, because then I could actually have a keyboard for typing. Although I do have a spare USB slot, so I could just plug another keyboard in. But.
Well, I mean, I've even heard people, they'll have, I heard in some cases you can actually have it to where you can hardware map the controller itself, or the keyboard itself will have it to where, like, if you hit X, instead of saying to the PS3 X, it'll say, W. That sort of thing. You can do hardware mapping like that.
Yeah. I mean, well, the keyboard that I picked up has got some customizable buttons anyway, and so does the mouse, and that's the reason that I chose them, was so that I didn't have to worry about not being able to remap any buttons. So I can still do it, and they've got onboard memory as well, so I can just plug it into the PC, set it up over a wallet, and then stick it in the PS3.
Yeah. I mean, to me, being able to remap all the controls is going to be a great equalizer between all the different input devices.
It'd be interesting to see how some people come up with things once that's in as well.
Well, because then you end up with it being, okay, what's your fit? What's your controller type? Now what are your key mappings? It adds more level to the game. It adds more depth to the game.
It's another layer, isn't it? Yeah.
To me, anytime.
Personally having, for example, if you wanted a melee character, having key mapping would definitely be a very, very useful thing to have.
Yeah.
On the DS3.
Well, because it'll foster gameplay style. Like if somebody has a particular gameplay style, they can map the keys out in such a way that it it does that for them. And you could have it to where, something super secret is someone's key maps. And like, oh my gosh, someone stole the key map catalog for our corporation. I mean, you get all kinds of, anytime you add layers of complexity to a game that are beneficial, in this way, like in that kind of way, I just think you just go for it.
Actually, now that you've mentioned that, it'd be really interesting if, in addition to key remapping, we got layers of key remapping so that we could allocate a specific remap to a specific suit, for example. And what Jens was saying about having a specific key set for melee only or whatever.
Like maybe having number keys set so that when you go into your suits, like you just press a number key and then you get the suit that's linked to that number key. Something like that.
Well, the way I think they should do the remapping is they should make it to where you can't. It's like they do need to balance it in such a way that you don't necessarily. I don't know. It's such a dicey issue though, because it's like, do you allow people to remap to the point where you can actually get more function out of a keyboard and mouse than you would be able to get out of a controller, or do you just let it go all holds no bar and just whatever you choose to do is whatever you want to do. So
I still think it needs to be balanced to a degree though, and that's going to be part of CCP's job, really, isn't it? They have to keep things relatively sensible in terms of balance issues.
Yes. I mean, to me, one of the things that's kind of silly about the whole issue of trying to separate players by keyboard and mouse, or trying to weigh matchmaking based upon input type, is that you're going to have if people can choose. I think Commander Wang said in the reply on the thread is that it's not forcing anyone, but it's what it is allowing players to choose to play against people with their same input type. Well, if there's a perceived advantage to keyboard and mouse, what happens if you end up with a situation where someone's using a KBM switch, or using a thing that, because I know a lot of people, I heard some people were buying devices that allowed them to plug a keyboard and mouse into the PS3 before there was support for it, because basically the keyboard, button pressing on the keyboard was programmed via the computer, and then basically it resulted in actions in the game. So basically you simulated the controller using that device. So what happens if people are using that device inside of a DS3 lobby? So if there's a perceived balance difference, then you're going to end up with a problem right there in terms of people using, quote-unquote, the imbalanced controller in a room where it's a bunch of people that are supposed to be using the same device. To me, it just any way you look at it, it results in bad things.
No, I agree. I mean, I remember the exact threads that you're talking about. I mean, we're going back now probably 5-6 months maybe, if not maybe even a little bit longer than that. But I do remember the threads, and people were using keyboard and mouse before it was officially supported, and before you could actually use an actual keyboard and mouse by using the things that you mentioned.
Yeah. I mean,
even back then, I remember the threads and people saying that it gave them more accuracy and more control or whatever if they were a PC gamer, for example, than come into it and playing with a pad, which they're not used to.
I mean, and what are they going to? I mean, how are they going to regulate it? Do you end up with something like Counter-Strike, where you end up having to select what your input is going to be going in before a match, and you're unable to change it during the match? To me, that would be a horrible way to go, because then you have there's situations where somebody may feel more comfortable driving an LAV or flying a dropship with the DS3, but they're more comfortable maybe gunning a turret or on the ground with a mouse and keyboard. I mean, they may very well switch, like Jensen mentioned earlier, using the small turret, using a move with a small turret. I mean, there's no good road that this leads down, in my opinion. I don't see where it could be beneficial. I mean, to me, any advantage that's inherent in a control scheme would be accounted for in the stats and the performance of the player. So basically, if you're weighing the performance and the stats of the player, their KDR, their, all the statistics that CCP has access to, what's the point of putting the layer of differentiating between controller type? Because the fact of the matter is, their statistics will be taken into account anyways by what's already being tracked. So you're going to end up with, it doesn't matter. Why would it matter if you have good keyboard and mouse players pitted against good DS3 players? It shouldn't be an issue. It should be based, so if their performance is the same, no matter what their input is, they're still going to end up with even matches.
Okay, Skype's saying the call is dropping, even though it's not, so... Can you guys still hear me, though?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a really weird error message. Anyway, I think we've said everything that needs to be said on this subject. I need to go AFK for 2 minutes, so I'm going to stop recording for 2 minutes, and then we're going to be back shortly.
I was asked a couple times a few years ago on Mag. They're like, I worked with a couple guys from Zipper Interactive. One of the people on there sent me a message. They were like, "So, you ever thought about AA?" I was like, "Wow." I was like, "It's not that bad. I only get 2 days off every 26 days, so I tend to have a good time with it. When I get home from work, dude, the last thing I want to do is not drink a beer. My job's I'm an industrial mechanic by trade. I work in a glass house that's over 120 degrees at all times. So I come home and I'm just like, I'm so beat. It's just, I sit down, I have a beer, try to calm down, and then I go to sleep."
Then you wake up and drink again and rage post.
I've only had a couple rage posts actually on Dust. I've been actually, I know a lot of you guys think I'm bad on the forums, but I've been so good. Y-dubs from R&D, any of the Pro Hit guys, any of the actual 3C, GC, Imp guys, they'll tell you how bad I used to be on forums. I mean, I would go in there swinging the biggest club I could find and just knocking everything down. It's bad. I'm actually well behaved for Dust 514, just because of the fact that there's too much going on for me to really let loose and just have fun.
Well, hang on, this is you well behaved.
Yeah, it really is. It really is.
Jesus.
On that note, welcome back to Boots on the Ground. I have been recording for the past couple of minutes without them knowing.
Woohoo! It might
I'll
also
cut
be
the
worth
worst
mentioning
bits
that
out. You won't have seen that.
Kane and Gimbal's webcam are frozen, at my end anyway.
Oh, they're both
Okay.
on mine too. No, Kane's good. Gimbal's frozen.
Am I frozen? I'm not
You are
frozen on this end,
You're
so
not
that's
frozen to
all
me.
that matters.
It's like you're concentrating really, really hard.
And
Oh.
I got that picture that you sent when mine was frozen. I was like, I'm about to do something terrible to someone.
I thought it was like the Joker from Batman. You're like, oh.
Anyway, welcome back to Boots on the Ground episode 2. That was the news section. Now we're gonna go into more tournament stuff. So yeah, I really want to get some thoughts on, because originally there was that closed beta tournament, and I don't know, I know Kane, you won it, I think.
Yes, and Perfects won the tournament undefeated, actually. We came close. We had a very close match on the first round of the finals with Seraphim Initiative, but that was about it. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of work. It was very tiring, to say the least.
You had to get in the undefeated part, didn't you?
Yeah, well, that's the way it went down.
And yet you wonder why people complain about you.
Hey, what can I do?
Hey, look, if I didn't say it, Jenza was gonna, so.
I love how you just pawned that off on Jenza. She hasn't said a word in 20 minutes. Jenza, she was totally about to pop off over here.
Oh, I've said it once, I'll say it again. I'm just here to play devil's advocate. It's not my fault I'm good at it.
Well, I mean, the last tournament, it was a lot of fun, though, and it was run by CCP, and the one thing that was very different about it is the matches were 15 versus 15. They weren't small like the court battles are. They were full matches, and what they did is they actually had a GM on each side, and for each match, and what they would do is they would pull the cane, essentially, go up in the MCC and hang out for a while, and they put it in God mode. You would actually see it popping up on the screen. So it was something that was it was interesting to see that enabled. The funny thing is that at the end of a match, if the other side lost, that GM would always die because the MCC would explode. So
Pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I wish somebody would have got that on video, because that's pretty cool.
I recorded every single tournament match, but
You should
unfortunately,
make a compilation of all the last 20 seconds when every one of them GMs dies. I should just play some
there's
sad
a lot of fun.
music.
I mean, I will say this, and also we would everyone would mess around with the GMs in the war barge as well. I mean, at one point we did a conga line led by one of the GMs around the map table. And then we would do like everyone lining up and then like walking slowly, doing that if you walk very, very slowly in the MCC, it does this very weird like baby step thing. And we had a little bit of that fun with that too. And the funniest thing that happened is oh gosh, who was it? We basically asked the GM. We finally got one of the GMs to talk because we said, hey, not with voice but through text. He's like, who's better? Is like I think it was Omni or Mr. Or I think it was Regnum or Mr. Zitro, and then like it was like they were like Regnum's better or something. I don't know. I can't remember exactly who the names were. I'd have to pull up the video.
You should ask for permission to post some of those videos or at least clips from them because that could be quite interesting.
I would like to. It was that tournament was very much not only that, unlike what's going on now, the maps rotate, so you never know what map you're gonna have. With the tournament, it was all the same map. It was all the 3-point map, Manus Peak, the older version of it, which was much, much larger, a lot more territory.
And a lot better.
I liked it. I know people complained about snipers and stuff like that. I mean, yes, you would have problems with it, and that was actually one of the big tactics that was used. Basically, because what you did is you had dropships were a big deal because they were much more powerful because of the missile launchers. So you had dropships. Yeah, and you had dropships, and then you had forge gunners to counter the dropships, and then you also had halves on the ground to counter any infantry pushes. It was very much rock, paper, scissors. It really did feel kind of almost like the perfect imbalance because the forge gunners could take out the dropships fairly easily, but at the same time you would have a sniper sitting out there, and a forge gunner was an easy target for a sniper. So you definitely had. I actually genuinely liked that build. I think that the missiles were a little much. They needed to be toned down, but
they went too far.
To me, it's like they don't really have a role anymore. They're very good still against anti-armor, but it seems like they're kind of like an orphan child now because they don't really have
fragmented missiles. I'll tell you all, if you get in them fragmented missiles, the turrets, they actually still do splash damage, and it's not a small amount. The fragmented missile launchers are actually still decent.
Oh, I'll have to try that out. Because I love one of the things I like doing is small turrets.
I can post on the forums again tomorrow, I think it is. And one of the things that I'm going to do is start a thread about the turrets and the way that I think that they should be balanced because they're really not working as they are right now, I don't think.
Did you guys see the new Eve bet thing?
Oh, yeah.
Any of you guys see the newest thing they put up there?
Oh no, I didn't see the notice that they put up.
It's which one of the closed beta testers will be banned from the forums next?
Really?
They got Regnum, me, Cerebral. They got all of Regnum's ults.
Oh my goodness, I have to.
Oh, if that's the case, I might get myself banned again deliberately.
No, I'm just
you bet a bunch of.
No, it would be funny though. It would be funny. Do you know how much money I made on there though? Last night with that win over Zion, they had it 3-1. Zion was going to beat us.
No, that's stupid. That was never going to happen.
I know. Do you know how much money I made? Oh my god, dude, retarded money. Money.
Wow, the betting for the Pink Fluffy Bounty Hunters, that bet alone the pool has gone to 500 million ISK.
Yeah. Well, that's not. I mean, I don't know. If Synergy wins, I'll be surprised, to be honest with you.
Well, yeah, right now it's 3-1. It's almost 3-1 odds. Synergy.
It was 3-1 last night again, or for Zion beating us, and the video should be up right now. I'm gonna look again. It should be done buffering.
Honestly, it's gonna come down to the map. I think it's really gonna come down to the map.
Well, I played the Jagged Edge one. That's what I call it. I think you guys called it Manus or some shit. I don't know.
Yeah, Manus Peak. That's the one with all the spikes and stuff on it.
Well, I played that
really
one, but it's got the base at Bravo. It's got the base at Bravo. That's the one I'm talking about. It's got a Syrio at Charlie and a base at Bravo.
Yes.
I played that one for the Phi match, and everybody always fights at Bravo. I don't know why. Just everybody fights at Bravo. And then I played the 5-letter map that they condensed into 3 points, where it's got the big compound in the center. It's got Delta on the attacker side, or on the defender side, and Echo on the attacker side, right under the MCC. Last night against Zion. And that compound, it always seems like if there's a compound, if there's a cluster, that every single person in the world is just running to their death at that compound. It's such a cluster. It's such a mess in there, man. I mean, the best FPS players in the world, I always tell people when they get in, they're like, oh, can I join the court battle? Can I join the court battle? I'm like, well, you know, you got to look at it like this. You might think you're good, but whatever you think, however you play, if you're a KDR-driven guy, cut your KDR not only in half, but by 4. And that's probably how you'll do in a court match because of the competitive nature and how clustered everything is. It all focuses around per point. Everybody goes point A, point B, and back and forth, back and forth.
Yep.
And whoever is the better teamwork or the better guns wins. That's how it is every time.
Yeah, with 8v8 right now, Slayers...
It's ridiculously hard. I don't like the 8v8, man. It's terrible.
Well, what it is Slayers are much, much more important because basically their Slayers are a force multiplier, and on an 8v8 match, you have to have people putting up the kills and being able to, because if you have one person that can take on 4 people, well, there you go.
Yep, it's like having a 12-man squad on an 8-man squad.
Yeah, but isn't it going to? Aren't the numbers per match going to change in the next build?
They should have already. When this went open, CCP's been talking about that forever, and that's the only. Like I have issues with CCP, but this is supposed to be an MMO, right? Or it's supposed to be a massive online, you know, multiplayer game, and we're 8v8 in competitive play? Come on, get out of here. Put some effort in and open it up, 16 on 16 at least. This is garbage. Like, I get so mad about that. I come from a game where you could command 120-some guys against another 120-some guys. 32 on 32 was the smallest, and they had no problem with that.
I think they're going to eventually get there. And I think some people there was actually a question up on the forums is, are we going to ever get to open world? I think we're always going to we may get to a more open type of gameplay at some point, but honestly, I think what we're going to be doing is at some point where it's going to be, whether it's 24v24 or 48 on 48 or 256 on 256, I think what you're going to end up doing is clone count is going to be a big factor. I think you're going to be able to have a match to where it could be a 256 on 256 match, but you could only come in with 24 guys, but your side could have like 5,000 clones. So the match is only... So
I think that's going to be a driving factor in the future.
I think that's going to be huge. It's going to be huge. I think that's going to be one of the big ways that logistical tactics gets worked into the gameplay. Is
you
that
might want to try telling
pilots...
some of your corps members that.
Well,
oh.
Look, the fact that
all I'm saying is that corps of size and quality are going to be able to wage war much more effectively than a corps made up of 60 guys that are ego-driven and maniacal. That's all.
All I have to say is that you can actually.
I've been saying that since the start, but people don't listen.
You're going to see situations to where basically groups that are precise are going to have a place. You're going to have groups that are very large. They're going to have a place. I think they're going to mold the game into a situation to where basically you will have access to the higher ends of the game at a lot of different levels in terms of player counts, in terms of resources, that sort of thing. You're going to have niches for pretty much any setup that you're going to have.
But if
Can I just chime in a
does what
second?
they're supposed to and turn this into scale deployments, even 60 guys of highly skilled competence are not going to be able to wage war for an alliance that's 10,000 strong looking to flip a system. They're not going to be able to. You're going to need these dust mercs.
2 quick points. I mean, first of all, it's multiplayer, not multiplayer, and it's niche, not niche. Don't murder the English language. And second of all, I think that there's definitely going to be a place for corps like you guys, what you guys are doing with your small corps, more Black Ops style play. You know, going in, dealing with specific objectives for a specific price set with a specific skill set, and getting a very specific task done for self-holding alliances and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like speaking from a bigger corp standpoint, like AV8's a real problem at the moment because
it is. It's garbage.
Like what we'll have is like we have a lot of people who aren't really sort of knowing what they're doing. They're just kind of like they have an active Reddit account and they want to play Dust, so that's why they're in subreddit. So when we organize a tournament match, these people have no idea what it is. They just see, oh, a Corp match, that looks really cool, I'm going to join that. And we get a lot of people coming in and wanting to play, and we have to say, get out. Because
I had a lemming last night, and I told him flat out, I told everybody, this is what we do. 4 hours before, we have a draft. And anybody that wants to play in that match has to be on 4 hours before, and they go through a very, very, intense 1v1 with specific people that we already use as battle commanders to see how they play, how they interact, how they deal with the stress of me chewing them out during a match or one of the battle commanders going at them, and we put them through the ringer. That's 4 hours before the match. At 2 hours before the match, we start pulling people into private chats. We have about 25 guys usually when it comes down to an 8-man tournament battle roster. Now, when we get into a game, I'm the only one that joins for that tournament, that 8-minute war barge. I sit there until about a minute and a half, and then I pull all my guys in. Because if you know who you're playing, like I do with Zion or I do with a couple other corps, I know what setups you guys use. So I'm going to adjust my roster in private chat to best and most effectively beat you. So if I bring in, say everybody knows Luchasaurus and Ted Nugent from the E3 build where they ran missile tanks with 100 KDRs. Everybody knows those two. So if you see me bring them in, you're going to be like, all right, I need AV. So you're going to try and get a couple guys that are AV fit. So I'll sit there for that time, and I'll go through, I'll look who I'm playing, I'll find out what I can about them, and I'll set my squads directly for that. But last night, for the Zion match, at 3 minutes into the war barge left, I had a lemming. And I told everybody in that chat at 2 hours before the meeting, if you join that chat, if you join that court battle and you have no idea what it is, you're automatically out, no questions asked, your tags are gone. And I had to rip tags for it. And the guy was like, oh, well, I wasn't on 2 hours before. Well, you shouldn't have joined the court match. We'll let everybody know when we have training matches. We do it with PXRXO all the time. We do it with Zion when they're on. We do it with a couple guys from Subreddit once in a while. We do it with Dust Corps. We do it with a lot of corps, a lot of training matches, Neanderthal Nation. But when there's a tournament match, if you don't know why that corp contract's there in my corp, you should not be joining it. We try to give everybody on the same page. We have 4 different media outlets running 24 hours of the day with 20-minute updates to everything, so there's no reason you should be like, oh, I didn't know anything. But lemmings are a big problem, especially in an AV8, in a tournament competitive nature right now. And I can understand like Subreddit trying to just get their guys involved and actually train their guys in that nature, because it is a pain in the ass. 8v8 is garbage, and I will never get off that subject. I hate how small the competitive matches are.
I mean, I like 8v8, but I feel like I'd like 16 versus 16 more, and 32 versus 32
I don't even
more.
I don't even want 16. I want the minimum to be 32. I really do. I would love 64 versus 64 engagements for corporation matches, because it would really show the true strength of a corp. Even a smaller corp would show true hardcore strength.
I think what you also need to take into account, too, is they don't want to block off people that don't necessarily have, because when you get to a 32 on 32 level, you're looking at, you need to have probably at least 120 members in a corp to really properly have a good setup in terms of engaging that match and having a proper bench and having a good alternates for that match and all that kind of stuff. That would separate the
corps from the casuals. That's really what I'm getting at. There's no reason that corps out there that are casual players should have any standing in anything that's going on in the actual metagame, whether it's the faction warfare, whether it's the null-sec engagement, whether it's alliance shopping.
The thing is, I just don't necessarily see that being able to have huge numbers also equates to also being highly skilled.
No, I'm saying, but having those numbers and putting them in a large-scale engagement shows whether or not they're skilled. A lot of people think that I have 500 and some members, but I don't get any credit. I never, ever get credit. Even in MAG, everybody says I was an overrated player. Even in Dust, I'm the bane of STB, yet, you look at us on the leaderboards and you see where we stand. You watch us in competitive play. I have multiple court matches listed and all kinds of stuff up online for you to check out. And every single time, even though they say, oh, you're just a Zerg Corp, you can call me anything you want. You can say anything you want. All right, my match results will not lie. I will beat good corps. I will lose to great corps, and that's the way it is. I've played Imp in small matches, 8v8, and I've lost. I will never say that they're a bad corp. They have some of the best players you'll ever come in contact with. They're ego-driven, though, and I feel like they're going to fall apart from the inside because of the fact that there's no clear leadership there. I like you guys as competitive players. I like playing against the best in the world, and that's where Imp is. But the best corps out there right now that are highly skilled and decent size are guys like Seraphim Initiative, Synergy Gaming. Zion is a good corp. Betamax is a good corp. Prohickey Mortal is growing every day. All right? The Pink Fluffy Bounty Hunters growing every day. And that's coming from a guy that hates Raffle. Like, Pink Fluffy and Fire both Raffle, and I go to war with them on a regular. They're old rivals. And they're good corps of large size and competitive nature.
But see, the thing is, you also have small corps like Giant. Giant defeated Sever in the first round and put you guys in the loser bracket.
I have no idea what happened there. I wasn't involved with it. Like I said, I haven't even seen the video.
That's a 60-man corp that basically faced off against a 500-man corp.
Right.
So the thing is, the skill of your players is very significant, and not only that, the ability to adapt is very, very important. To me, one of the reasons for having the tournament was also to test corporations' ability to organize and also to deal with battle anytime, anywhere.
Look at Giant beating Sever. All right, anybody can win on any given day depending on the luck of the draw. All right, Giant beat Sever our first round in the tournament. That Kane, you know damn well that I wasn't very active on it, and I had no idea because ever since I become active, you even said to me, "Quick, you've been on the ball with everything. You know, appreciate it." I wasn't involved with that first match. When I'm involved, it's a whole different story. I had a guy take over for me for that time period because I was at a standstill with Imp. I didn't want anything to do with you guys, and obviously that got put up on the forums. So I didn't want anything that was going on. I told my corp, I'm not going to make you guys withdraw from the tournament. I understand you want to do that. That's on you. Go ahead and do it. You guys want to play, you go play. They went and played. I have no idea who they used, no idea who battle commanded, nothing. I heard they lost. I turned around and said, all right, well, I don't want this to make us look bad, so I took over. I had a couple other guys run 2 matches for me, and then I ran the rest. And we have not lost since then. How many matches did Giant win after they beat us? 1, and then they got double eliminated?
Hang on.
No, we beat Giant straight after.
Yeah,
Giant,
shut the
Giant
fuck up with the chest
on a
beating for
fluke, and then
5
got
minutes.
beat out.
Because we've completely gone miles away from what we were originally discussing, which was corp numbers and skill sets, and now you two are just at each other's fucking throats.
Yeah, we have. Well, we were originally talking about
both of you.
closed beta tournament. But has everybody said their final piece on the closed beta tournament before?
I love the closed beta tournament. Kudos to Kane. He deserves a pat on the back and support from the community. He did a great job, and everybody here that's listening should really, really look at Kane for a lot of information. He's a great guy and done a really good job.
You said the closed beta tournament, not the open beta tournament. You fucking prick.
Hey,
he won the closed beta tournament, so we'll just.
Carl,
Fuck's sake.
I appreciate it, Quick. I do.
Quick, let's go and have another fucking whiskey. Jesus.
I will. I'm actually going to drink this beer before I get another whiskey. Too much sugar.
I wanted to point out, before you two started fucking going at it, that you're both looking at it from a very close-minded point of view, though, because you're both looking at it with the current mechanics that we've got. You're not looking at the bigger picture. And corps like mine, with a large member base, we're gonna have different advantages over corps like your own, which has got a smaller player count, but might be higher skilled. We're going to be able to attack multiple districts at the same time, multiple planets at the same time.
Well, that's agreed, but that's still looking at it like, all right, take PXRXO. They're going to hit 6,300 members. All right, so where would you rank them?
What do you mean?
They're going to have 6,300 dustbins. How would you rank them?
I'd put them in the same bracket as me. They're going to be able to hold sovereignty. They're going to be able to attack in different time zones that you're not necessarily going to be able to defend in. They're going to be able to attack multiple districts, multiple planets.
That's where I don't understand how you missed this one in the beginning. I said people call me a Zerg Corp because I got almost 600 members, and I'm saying that it's necessary. It's a necessary evil to have a large player base to do anything impact-wise in this game.
Holding corp is a massive, massive thing that everybody needs to take into consideration if they want to hold sovereignty.
The thing is, though,
I'm in agreement with you, Sarup.
The thing is, though, like, you're not really limited to one corp if you want to. Like, let's say EVE players want to defend planets. You're not limited to only one large corp. You can bring in other corps to come and help. So, like, smaller corps do have a place in that they can be, like, guns for hire.
Yeah, they can be added on to a strong roster of decent people.
Maybe
if you have 1,000 people and you hear imps looking for a contract, you're like, well, that's 60 really good guys I can add onto a contract, and you put them on your contract just to have an extra 60 guys. Like if you have a fleet online, you got 1,000 guys in fleet, and then 5 more sign online, and they're like, hey, is fleet left yet? No, it hasn't left. Get in fleet. We need 5 more. If they're on and they're available, why not take them?
Yeah.
Numbers do matter. It's the point you're making, and I agree with you.
Yeah, I understand what Gimbal was saying about corps being able to band together and such, but they're never going to be able to play with the big boys like PL, Test, Goons, or whatever.
So do you know who I fly with, Cerebral? Do you know where I
not
sit
East
in
side,
Lions
no.
Watch?
Not East side, no.
I'm saying even on Dust side. Do you know who I'm employed by?
I thought you were an independent, to be honest with you.
No, I'm not. Do you know who I'm with?
No,
Obviously not. You don't.
No.
All right. I fly with HBC and Test Alliance.
Oh, okay. Well, that's interesting, because I talked to Dent quite a bit, and he's never mentioned it to me, so he can't think that much of you.
I'm in the coalition. I was actually in a meeting with Dent last night.
No, I'm just playing. Okay, fair enough. But yeah, you see what I'm saying though. People like, Keynes actually said that he doesn't even want to hold sovereignty anyway. But other small corps.
Not holding Sav and Eve is
no.
I don't think that
no.
matters to the Dust side.
The fact of the matter is,
even holding sovereignty.
You can have your shiny stuff, but if somebody comes in and you spend months setting up a district in terms of your structures and all that stuff, and then somebody comes away and takes it and razes it to the ground, that's going to be a significant event for you.
You're not going to be able to do that with 60 guys. You can't do that with 60 guys. There's no possible way you could do that with 60 guys.
Hey, just watch him try.
No, you really can't. You physically
disagree.
cannot. To flip a system in any way. To flip a system to take it. If I own Saab, and I'm out there every day, grinding away and building
sovereignty. We're not talking about system sovereignty.
How about we actually talk about the system when it actually comes out, rather than making base lists?
It's all speculation at this point.
I thought you'd gone.
No, I'm still here, just lurking. Haven't really had anything to say.
That is a good point, however. Like, this is all far off in the future, but I think everybody can agree we want bigger matches.
Yes, thumbs up for bigger matches.
And I do think there is a place for smaller matches. Like, maybe not in, like, capturing districts or anything like that, but, like, I think 8v8 has a place. Like, because if a new corp wants to come up and try and get bigger and bigger...
I think they should do 8v8 and let people bet on it. I think that'd be cool. To actually bet upon FPS skill level, and it would just be like an ambush-style 8v8, deathmatch. I think that'd be cool. That would be cool. That really would.
You could do it ambush, or, just have it to where... there is a whole bunch of options in terms of the competitive esports side of things. Allow it basically 2 people to come together and say, oh, I want to do a 24v24, or I want this competition to be 8v8. Basically, put those options in the hands of the players and say, okay, we're going to do an 8v8 tank-only match. And this is going to be how it could... any number of things I think could be opened up. I mean,
have an 8v8 dropship dogfight. That would be neat, dude.
I mean, there's anything you want you could think of if you allow there to be settings in place that you can tweak in terms of those matches, and then basically make it to where Eve pilots can look in on those matches, allow for a really good spectating mode. I think you could just see it explode, and then you can basically put in a system in place that is that allows the betting and stuff like that. Like, this is run by third-party websites and stuff like that, and that's awesome. But have an option for them to actually be inside the game instead of having to run through an external website. I mean, maybe through Crest or, any number of avenues, but actually make it a core part of what the game is, because to me, I think the arena-style stuff is going to have a cool place. And it's going
I think it'll be cool to see at FanFest how that turns out, because apparently they're going to do that at FanFest.
Well, to me, well, go ahead, Cerebral.
I was going to say, I think Crest is going to open up a lot of options to us.
Yes.
And I think that's something that a lot of people either don't have any idea what it is or what it's going to, the sort of stuff that it's going to allow us to do long term.
So for anybody, like, from the Dust side coming in, like, what is Crest?
Do you want to, who wants to take it?
Whoever knows the most.
You jumped at it, Kane. You jumped at it. It's all yours.
All right.
I watched you pop up in your chair all excited.
Okay. Basically, you have the API system currently in Eve, and what Crest allows you to do is the API system, you can listen in but you can't affect Tranquility through that API. So one of the end goals for Crest is basically allow some functionality in which you can reach out and change it, whether it be as simple as being able to write and answer a mail through a third-party app. But basically, it's opening up the ability for players and independent developers to make tools for the community and for the game that can allow just an infinite number of possibilities.
Basically,
One of them,
it's one of the things out there right now for my company, Split Knuckle Gaming, to really be interested in. It's something to give us a chance to give back to you guys and actually make a little bit of money off it in the process. We're going to be able to open up tools and different things like that to help everybody out with all of that. And the API verification thing, I really, really hope that they do something for that quick for the Dust side of it, which is what they're talking about with the Crest program and all that, but I don't know. I don't know all the gist of it. I just know that it's something to really keep your eye out. And if you don't know what it is, you should be on the forums checking it out right now. Or on, where is it at? Let me find it. I'll find a link for you guys.
Meanwhile, going back to the arena thing, Foxfire, was it Fox 4 he's called? CCP Fox 4.
Yeah, Fox 4.
Yeah, he was actually posting, I think it was yesterday, that he was looking into doing arena stuff and he wanted feedback on that.
yes,
He's a recent addition to the team, isn't he?
Yeah, he joined CCP last year, I think. He did, he fixed the market so it wasn't terrible anymore.
Yes, right now he's one of the devs that does. He does pays a lot of attention to the Eve Dust interaction as well. That's also on his plate now.
Yeah, I just want a little shout out to him because he's doing a fucking great job right now.
Yes, Fox 4, thank you
job.
for being awesome.
So yeah, the thread will be below. I'll go and find that down. We'll track that down even, so people can go like give feedback on that. But I really do think arena stuff will be cool. Like even 4v4, like maybe capture the flag or something.
Again, it's something that I don't think that I'm gonna have a great deal of interest in personally, but I think community-wise it's going to be a really interesting thing to have and watch what people can do with it.
Well, it's an avenue of interaction between Eve and Dust that you can create in a very safe way. I mean, no one's going to... It's not something... Because you're not flipping districts, you're not... You know, it depends on whether or not you add Eve side support into it or not, but, I mean, I guess an arena style, I would imagine that probably not being the case, to have Eve side support.
It'll be interesting to see how they handle it law-wise, actually, because they're essentially going to be putting immortal mercs in a cage, locking them in, and seeing who kills who and who comes out.
That just sounds like something Eve players would do, though.
It sounds like something.
I
bet you the Amar started.
Well.
I bet you.
I bet you Mimitar does it, dude. Mimitar's all about that.
Oh, shoot, you're right, man. That might...
I know I'm right. I'm baby freaking Jesus.
It's going to be interesting. It'll be interesting to see if and it'd be really funny to be like one of the empires is like, oh, this is horrible. This is an unethical thing. Like you can have
I think Amar would do that. I think Mimitar would start it and Amar would look down on it. Or Kaldari might look down on it because they're commies.
Space communism is the future.
Space commies!
Hey, it works for us.
Yeah, it works for a lot of people. I won't lie about it. I mean, Chinese have more people in the world than anybody else, so it works for one thing or another. We gotta let all these threads die. I mean, Jesus. I'm on the Dust forums right now, and there's so many useless threads on here. If any of you guys are forum active, think twice before posting, and I'm gonna take my own advice. The only time, if you guys look, and I know somebody in here is gonna be like, "Quick, you're like the last person to say anything about this." If you look at my last 5 posts, none of them were negative. All of them were kudos to Phi for one of the most fun matches I've had in my entire life. And it was a rematch that we have from an old rivalry in MAG. One of them was about sovereignty, and I don't remember what the other 2 were, but none of them were negative, none of them were pointed at anybody, and it was just instant 1,000 posts, 4 pages of troll. So
just out of curiosity, that's your last 5 posts out of how many?
20 probably. I'll tell you exactly how many posts I've made. I'm gonna go to my account right now and tell you.
Okay, while Quick Gloves does that, something I wanted to touch on. So Kane, how did you get into the whole idea of doing the open beta tournament?
Well, it actually what it originated with was the orbital bombardment events through the Dust OB channel. That's kind of where it started. And I put in a request to see what I was going to do. Is I had a extra Merc pack, and I was going to say, okay, let's make sure this doesn't violate EULA, and I can offer this as a prize for someone who gets like the most kills or gets like the first kills in the orbital bombardment event. There was a little bit of a drama that came after that, but the end result, what ended up being is CCP made a very big gesture in terms of support. They offered, T-shirts, Merc packs, Plex, and then basically I took that and I was like, well, I could do this OB event, but I think this is actually enough support to do something much bigger and something that can get a lot more of the community directly involved, and also something that can bring a lot of attention from EVE onto Dust. And so that's when kind of the tournament kind of spawned up. Part of it came out of Noctembre. Noctembre had an idea for doing a team tournament where basically, and they were going to try to work out Dust side betting for it. The problem is without the direct trade or direct transfer of ISK, it's very difficult to do. But what I did is I built off of that, and that's kind of became the tournament in itself. And to me, what I wanted to accomplish with it was not only bringing interest into Dust from EVE, from basically just the matches themselves and tie it maybe to the OB events, but also one of the things I've been very happy with is the EVE side betting that's taken place. There's actually, I think it's almost 4 billion ISK now in the pool. If you take all of the total pool of betting that's going on, the total pool has exceeded or come very close to 4 billion ISK. And to me, that's awesome in terms of...
That really surprised me. It really surprised me that there was that sort of interaction from EVE side, and I'm quite impressed, actually.
I think there's a hunger for it. There's a hunger for that type of interaction with Dust, because to me, the Alliance tournaments are awesome, but sometimes it's hard to necessarily engage with an Alliance tournament unless you really have some of that deeper EVE knowledge and the deeper knowledge of what the modules are, the ship types and all that stuff. I think because Dust is such because being an FPS, it's much more visceral. It's something that's a lot easier to connect with in terms of spectating or following or that sort of thing. Someone shooting someone in the face is very understandable. In terms of, you're not going to, there's no confusion there. There's no confusion about watching somebody take a dropship and drop a squad onto a point. There's nothing, it's very easy to connect to. And I think with the spectating mode and stuff like that and better tools to pull off these kinds of events, I really think this is an avenue of expanding EVE Dust interaction that would be just awesome. And it could be something that really fosters the community too. And also the relationship between EVE and Dust. I mean, it's just, to me, and what's really been fun about the tournament is that part of it was, right now, it's very, the way corp battles are, they're very consensual. It's like, I will fight you here, I will come at you, and then, we will agree to fight here. One of the things I wanted to break up with that is actually introduce non-consensual warfare through the tournament. Even to the point where I did want to give flexibility. But one of the things that I thought was very interesting is we actually had at one point in the tournament, there was a 4-hour window that was extended out 9 hours. And so basically I came in and said, look, you guys have to schedule your matches and get them done, or people are going to get disqualified or take auto losses. That's just going to have to do, because the tournament has to move forward, because essentially half of the teams had done their matches and half of them hadn't. So basically one half of the side of the brackets was holding everyone up. And this was actually like 3 in the morning Eastern Standard Time, and a lot of the corporations are primarily U.S. based at this point. There are some corporations out there that have higher EU populations, and also you have people like Southern Legion that are primarily focused in Australia. But to me, what it introduced is the fact that this is going to be a game that's anytime, anywhere, and it doesn't matter if you have 500 people, but at 3 in the morning. You have to get stuff done, you have to defend your SOV, and you can't get 8 people together, that's a problem. But, to me, what was crazy is that it was actually the smallest corporation out of all those corporations that were having problems. That was the first corporation that stepped up to the plate.
I agree. I think you've made some really good points there, actually.
Hey, Kane, I'm going to jump in a little bit here. Did you see the link I put in there?
No, I'm not paying attention.
Because back in closed beta, I tried to sponsor this tournament way long before any of you guys kind of came up with everything. And now it's kind of funny because you check that thread I just put up there where I insta got flamed and everybody tried to shut me down about it, and I wound up moving off the topic. I had everything set up, everything was going. I had my development company sponsoring everything, and I was just laughing because, you know, all the ideas, you know, you doing this and everything is awesome, Kane. I'm not downgrading you in any way or shape or form. You went through it. You had the support. Everything worked out great for you. You know, kudos. I've had a blast in your tournament. It's been fun.
Well,
But
I think
a lot of the
problem
ideas and stuff, I get pissed off, like, for me, because a lot of people look at me and they say I'm a forum troll or whatever. But in reality, I started this idea months ago in closed beta.
I mean, I've seen the idea for the tournaments. I mean, through CCP, through all different kinds of avenues. One of the deals is that because it was closed beta, I think that was problematic for doing a tournament and for being able to publicize it. I think what happened is by having it be open beta, you opened up all kinds of avenues of communication. You could actually talk about it. It's something.
So why aren't they doing it now and allowing imps to have a free run for the first round of an open beta tournament, since they wear the crown for closed beta winners and they sit on top of that throne?
Well, that's
why not have
one of the reasons
like
we stay
that?
out of the tournament, though, is because since
I know that, but that's my point. Now that it's
let Kane finish. Let Kane finish.
Well, I mean, look, the reason that one of the reasons that Imperfects isn't inside the tournament is, one, we didn't want people to think, oh, since I'm running it, there's no reason to have me also judging it too, because there's been disputes, there's been arbitration, and there's no way to have that be perceived as objective if we're part of it as well. I mean, to me, it was just a matter of circumstances. I don't think it was necessarily CCP saying, oh, we're going to choose these people to do it, or we're going to choose these people to do it. CCP actually had no knowledge that I was going to be doing a tournament with this event. That was actually what happened was I got the sponsorship, and I felt, okay, I think this could be something more. So I actually opened up a thread and let people vote. You know, what's your interest? Do you want to do a team tournament? Do you want to do a corp tournament? Do you want to do, do you want to just do no tournament at all? And there was really a hunger in the community to do the corp-based tournament. And I think part of that comes from the reason that I was able to pick up off the ground was because CCP actually, went out on a limb and took a risk and said, all right, let's sponsor this community event and see what comes of it.
Let's not forget though that you only got the recognition from CCP after they first tried to give it to Zion TCD.
Yes, I mean
that's my point. That's what I'm trying to make here, guys. I came up with this idea, and a tournament idea, not this idea, but a tournament idea, closed beta. I have a bad relationship with CCP, and I immediately got blasted for it. You came up with a good idea for a tournament, and they tried to pawn it off on Zion and give Zion the credit for it until they were called out in that, and now you're getting the support you need. So that's my point. I'm just flaming CCP here. That's all. If anybody doesn't see where I'm going with this.
The thing with Zion, that was more specific. It was more basically I had put in something for specifically a recording contest. I wanted to basically people to record orbital bombardment footage from space and the ground, and wanted to create a compilation video basically to advertise the Dust OB channel and to advertise basically the connection between Eve and Dust, because I think that's really one of the big selling points. And then, with the stuff that happened with Zion, it just seemed like that was shelved and put on to somebody else to do. And to me, the thing that was really tragic about it is that Zion was given a significant amount of resources, but instead of making it something open to the community and making something that was open for everyone, he specifically shut it down and said, even had a voice address where it's like, this is going to be for Zion. I'm sorry if you're not in Zion. Ha, 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 ha. I mean, to me, what you need to, when you're given resources and you're given an opportunity, that's the other thing. I would love to see this snowball into other people running tournaments. I mean, Quick Gloves, that's one of the reasons that I want to set up the New Eden Sports website, is so people like yourself, people who are instigators and enablers, can come together and have a place where these things can happen all the time. I mean, I don't think I'm going to be running another tournament. I really wanted to get the ball rolling. I mean, there's people like Sentient Archon.
You wanted to pioneer it.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I don't care who gets it rolling. I don't care, what I wanted to do is I want it to be something that's for the community. I want it to be something that becomes greater. Because I think if we have regular tournaments going on, you have regular events, sporting matches, whether it be tanks versus tanks or just infantry-only warfare tournament, to me, that will show CCP that there really is a drive and a hunger for esports type stuff inside of Dust. And I think that will make it to where it'll drive and focus attention to where maybe that can be put on the developer schedule a little bit faster than it would normally. To me, what's been the most amazing thing is not necessarily the CCP sponsorship, it's the community sponsorship. People that don't even like my corporation, you actually have people like Onslaught, and you have people like Red Star, and you have Giant and a couple other people. What they did is they go out and they say, hey, this is pretty cool. Let's put our own money up. So basically, I think there's over $100 of community-sponsored prizes. And to me alone, that also shows that the fact that the community really wants to do it. I mean, the same thing, like the fact that you want to do it and the fact that you have an idea and a goal in terms of organizing a tournament is awesome. I would love to see more of this happen. I would love to see more people get out there because I think
I'm in agreement with you, Kane. That's why I support you in a lot of things that you're doing. Even though your imp and my relationship with that, yeah. I look completely past that when it comes to you because you are very passionate, you're very knowledgeable, and you're a good guy about it. I was just trolling CCP there for the fact of they choose who they want to support, and that's where that racist comment a while back came from,
yeah.
And it's just it's ignorance and their ideals that they're going to do some shady stuff like that.
But to me, I think
maybe it's just as simple as the timing not being right, though.
I mean, I think honestly the whole situation was just a matter of communication problems. People not communicating, who's doing what in the community or what's going on. I think that was the majority of it. But I really think some of these situations, what they enumerate, what they show is that there needs to, in my personal opinion, there needs to be something like the CSM in Dust. It needs to be elected by the players.
Jesus, really don't go down this road. You don't want to get into this with me right now
this
when
will
we're
be
so
another
far into
episode.
the podcast. Yeah.
Closer to when the CSM election comes, we'll do a proper show on
That's going to be a fantastic show, and I hope I'm
This is something I've got a hell of a lot to say on, and
I would love
probably not
on
something to get
show.
into now.
We'll table that for another
Yeah.
discussion.
Put that one in your pocket. Just hold on to it for a while.
While we're talking about the tournament and stuff, though, I do want to say that I'm quite impressed with the amount of work that's been done, and I can only imagine the number of hours that's been put into it. And at the same time, I do think that your call to not allow imperfects into the tournament was a really, really good call, especially considering how many of them wanted to be involved, because it would have only caused more grief further down the line.
One thing I want to see...
Though, I'm going to petition CCP to run an open beta tournament, because you guys do deserve that chance to really show why you earned that crown.
Well, one thing I'd like to see, actually, I'd like to see Imps play whoever wins this one.
Everybody's going to already do that. I guarantee whoever wins is going to call out Imp and be like, hey, just for fun, let's do this. I guarantee that. I know I'm doing it if I win. Like, I guarantee any other corp is going to do that. If I manage to make it by Synergy and Pink Fluffy Bunny, I'm going to be so high on adrenaline that I'll definitely call out Imp.
If the winners of the tournament are up for it, I'm sure I can
say
that
that
to the guys.
You know they will be.
Actually, I'm going to put that out right now. Kane, I want you to record it yourself and put it on YouTube so that we can see things from your point of view.
From the MCC, he means.
Well, I'm stood behind him with a grenade.
Well, that was perfect timing. You got to give me that one.
Yeah, no, come on. It's about time. I think Imps should put their own video up. They've got everybody else doing it for them.
Video, and I know you have recorders because half of them used to be in my corp.
We actually, if you go to our YouTube channel, we actually have all the matches that I've been in. I've actually streamed live, and so there's actually recordings there. And also, if you can send me, if people out there who are in the tournament, if you could send me the links to your videos, that'd be awesome because I'm actually compiling a list of videos that were matches played during the tournament. That's actually a playlist I have on my channel at Kane Spiro on YouTube. So that's something I hope. I know we haven't gotten any videos from Synergy. I hope that if maybe this match or even if they end up in the finals, I really hope to see those videos from all sides. I think it would be awesome to have videos from both ends of the match and actually be able to take those videos and edit them together and to make it an advertisement for the community for tournaments. For future tournaments, like what Quick Gloves wants to put on, like what Sentient Archon came to me and said he wanted to do, for the league types ideas that multiple people have come up with and said they wanted to do. I just think the FPS community is a very sports kind of centered community. That's kind of just one of the things that's at the core of FPS players, and I think allowing that to fostering that and allowing it to grow and become something bigger and greater is going to be it will be awesome to have that happen.
Yeah, sounds good. I'll put everything below as well. So all the links down there.
Oh, awesome.
It might actually be worth Kane putting together sort of a topic on the forums with links to all the videos and the final outcomes and stuff on. I mean, are you planning on doing that towards the end of the process?
Yeah, I might do that. I think that's a good idea.
Kane, I hope you understand, like, everything I've said, dude, to you personally and even on here, dude. Non-stop, round of applause for you from me. As much as I hate who you work for with Imps, you really are, a diamond in the rough, and I really think you should be proud of that and continue to work and do what you're doing, because a lot of us out here in the community that really care about this as much as you do respond to you, and you are a beacon of good faith for your corp.
Who
and
he
hopefully
works
maybe
for
one day you
Imps.
could knock them. Yeah, Imperfects, blah,
He
blah,
is
blah.
Imps.
I really do hope, I don't know who they have as CEO besides.
Kane is CEO.
I don't know.
Well, I'm
to me, it's.
To clear that up, I'm the Eveside CEO. Omni is the Dust is the overall CEO of Imperfect.
That says it all. But regardless, you should really push to get your corp mates to vote them out and vote you in, because you're a fantastic guy. Your ideas are very sound on, and you might be able to turn them around and actually turn them into something good.
I doubt it.
Yeah. Kane for CEO. You heard it here first.
I think Janza said something, but I couldn't hear it.
She said she agreed.
No, I didn't.
Ah! I like Jeff too, though, so it's cool. I like Jeff Max.
No, I
I've
didn't
never
say it. No,
known
I
Jennifer
didn't say I didn't agree. I said that well, no, I'm sorry. Something else.
Well,
It's recorded, so we can always look at it later.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
to me, I think one of the most important things is that Quick Gloves. I know our organizations have their differences and they're fairly vast, but to me, anytime you can set stuff aside that's happening inside the game and look at it from the outside and say, all right, what can we do to make this game successful? Because I mean, it's not a selfless thing. I'm no saint at all.
You gotta admit, though, dude. You gotta admit, it's hard for me to overlook the fact that they trolled my son dying. You gotta admit on that one.
That's a misunderstanding, and that's the fact is that Regnum said some stuff on the forums. He didn't want that topic. He didn't feel the topic needed to be out in the general discussion. He wanted it to be in the locker room, and it was misconstrued into being something a lot worse than what it was. And I don't think that anybody feels that was a good outcome and that was a good situation. And I know a lot of people.
Probably raising this in the first place is probably not such a good idea, because
Your mic
the
Yeah,
door's pretty
moving
much
on.
closed on that.
Moving on.
Yeah.
There's only like a couple more things. We're coming up to the hour and a half mark anyway. And there's like a couple more things I wanted to go over. And the other one was like the bracket right now. I'm kind of wondering what people's thoughts are on who's going to win which match. I mean, like obviously Quick Gloves thinks he's going to win, but that's...
Do you want my opinion on the other match between Synergy and Pink Fluffy? Because that's a really good match. Synergy is absolutely fantastic. They've beaten us in multiple matches. We've beaten them a couple times here and there. I think their AV game is probably one of the best out there. I think their Assault game has some work, and Pink Fluffy Bunnies doesn't. So I'm going to give my edge to Pink Fluffy Bunny, and I would give them a 2-1 win at the end of the game for, I'd say, 80% of the match.
Just to counter Quick Gloves, I'd like to say I would personally give my edge more to Synergy. I think that long term they've got more game.
For me,
it's going to be a great match, though. If you guys haven't bet on Eve Bet, you should really bet, because whoever wins is going to make some good money.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I love, the seeding went really well for the tournament, and having the double elimination, I think it really allowed, unlike for the CCP's tournament, which was awesome, I think this really allowed for the dynamics of the teams to come forward. So, if you had someone who couldn't field the team at all, that would be something that would be cleared up. early on. I really think that these next matches, these final matches, are going to be really something to watch. I think they're going to be a lot of fun. I think that's going to be. I really wish there was a way to put a fly on the wall or a camera drone in the match and have basically people be able to watch these things, because I think it's going to be something that's a lot of fun.
You probably could if you had an ult with a HD PVR. You could do it just like the devs did. Say it's going to be 7-on-7, and you're going to have a.
We considered that, but with 8-on-8, it's already small enough.
Yeah.
And then pulling it into 7-on-7, you're basically it's like a squad. It's like what an original squad plus one used to be.
Yeah.
To me, that was considered early on. Should we have someone record?
I mean, maybe for the final, when it's going to matter the most.
I mean,
but
like,
even then,
actually,
I think we're all recording as now anyway.
Looking at the final, couldn't you technically just have like maybe 12v12, get CCP to set it up, and then just have a couple of people doing recording?
I would love. I mean, if we could pull that off, I would love to have that. I actually, you know what? I'll put in a petition about that. But
I'll bump it.
Dude, yeah, I think I would love to actually have that kind of interaction with the finals.
That'd be awesome. It would be really cool for the finals, even the semifinals. But I understand if they only want to sponsor one, but the finals would be the most amazing thing for that, to have, 4 spectators on each side, get a 360 view of the battle. That would be absolutely outstanding, and it'd be really cool. It'd be pioneering too, because no other game that I know of has a real feature like that, or a tournament sponsored like that, where they actually have sit-ins that can capture every little piece of action.
Yeah.
A camera on every letter. Come on, you haven't seen that before.
Yeah, having because that's definitely, it's an allocation of resources, and it'd be pretty short time frame, but that would be awesome if we could have GMs, even if it were just GMs in the match, or I don't know. I think the easiest solution it would be to have, if they can do it. I don't know, Quicklos, do you have a Twitch account? Or are you familiar with Twitch?
Yeah.
It might be worth it if both teams are doing it, you wouldn't necessarily have one team having an advantage over the other, but if both teams could be streaming to Twitch.
I use Ustream usually, but I do have a familiarity with Twitch.
Yeah, I mean, that would be awesome. That would be the easiest solution, but I think I'll look into asking the devs to see if there's a way maybe we can work out a more
Put it in
formal
general discussion, dude. I'm telling you, make it public, because anybody in this tournament or anybody that has faith in what you're doing will bump it, and it's something that needs to be done. And I hope this video goes up before you post it, because it is a good idea. It's just like the tournament. It's a fantastic idea. From Kane's Barrel.
Personally, I'd email Commander Wayne directly.
Yeah, let's all just call Iceland right now.
Just spam his Twitter account. Everybody go @tweet.
I got their number if you want to call CCP HQ in Iceland. We could just hammer them right now.
No, I like being able to do this show and having it.
Yes.
That's funny.
But yeah, we're pretty much at the hour-and-a-half mark. So, Pink Fluffy Bunny Hunters, Synergy Gaming. So, Quick Gloves thinks Pink Fluffy Bunny Hunters are going to win it?
Yeah, I'm going to give my edge to PFB.
Kane?
I honestly, I don't know. I can't make a pick.
Cerebral?
Make a pick.
Oh, I've put my money already on Synergy.
Okay, and Genza?
I don't really have an opinion on the match, to be honest. I'm not really sure.
Okay, fair enough. And Spur versus OSB. Is it OSB or OSG?
OSG.
Sever, not Spur. I can't stand that. Sever. I don't care if it's spelled improper. It's Sever.
Okay, Sever then. Okay, Quick Gloves, obviously you're gonna think you're gonna win it. Kane?
I don't know. With the loss to Giant, but at the same time, Sever's been really pulling it out ever since then. And OSG, I mean, they've got a strong team as well.
Just pick a fucking side. Stop sitting in the middle.
Actually, I'm gonna have to go with Sever if they're bringing their A team and their A game to it. As much as it pains me.
Well, again, I'm going to play devil's advocate and say OSG.
I'm also going to say OSG, as long as they bring Hawkeye, and I know that really annoys OSG when subreddit talks about how great Hawkeye is. But Yeah, that was like our tournament match in like the pre-bracket round, and I think it got to the point where we were actually terrified of spawning just because we get instantly headshotted whenever we did. So,
See the Talus or the Talon or that sniper rifle that's one-shot kill? Is that him?
using an Ishcone when we were playing, but there's
The
probably a
charge.
better one.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he pulled out Thales for the later matches.
Yeah. So a simple sniper is the biggest issue for them. All right.
I'd like to just see OSG win to see if Quick Love sticks by his own rules about playing nice on the forums when he loses.
I can guarantee you right now, Cerebral, I've made a very conscious attempt to not troll anything. And even Zion, like, I love Zion. I don't care what anybody says. I really, really do like a lot of guys in Zion, like Jesse Jane, Grimace, and
They've got
half
some
the
really
guys.
good players.
Well, they have
have got
cool
some good
players. The guys in there are really, really cool. I've had so much fun. Even Zion, when I'm one-on-one with him, just hanging out, he's a cool dude. I understand his views in the forums can be taken different ways and whatever, but I'm totally overlooking all that because of the fact that when I play with him, he's a cool guy. Even, like I said, I love playing with the Zion guys. They're so much fun. They're cool, level-headed guys. I like playing with them. What they do on the forums, what they do with the community is different. But
No, I agree
even
entirely.
me, I'm telling you right now, I will not troll even if I lose.
No, I agree. Putting the man to one side, I think Zion's got some very good members and they have the right attitude. They really do. They've got a great attitude. They come in, they play, they have a good time, and that's what's important.
Cool. They are cool people.
Okay,
That's
well,
how I feel about Betamax as well. A lot of the people in Beta, like Genza, I really, really like, what they do and how they represent themselves. I think they're a good core as well.
Thank you.
I have to say I did like the charity stream when I started up.
Yeah, there was a few problems with it that we managed to get through. It was quite a good thing, and I hope to do another one at some point. But however, I'm actually having a few problems in real life right now, which has been affecting the amount of time I can reinvest in playing Dust right now.
Okay, well, if you do an event, we'll all be behind it, I think.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Cool. Right, well, that's us pretty much done. Any last thoughts from anyone before we close this up?
Everybody join STV. What? Who said that?
Just want to say good luck to everybody else in the tournament and for their final matches and for the finals as well. I hope it's end up being some really good fights.
Yeah, I'd like to second that. It's been interesting to watch so far. I'm
going to say right now that I bet you it'll be a Synergy PFB rematch for the finals.
Yeah, I'm actually...
well, there's no way Seth's going to get through, so...
Oh! That's just mean. I think if we get Synergy, we have a chance to get through, but after watching PFB emasculate, or what's the word there I want? Make Imp look like little boys, I think it'll be hard to beat PFB. They're very, very strong. Synergy is very strong as well, but we have beat them before, regardless of what they say we used or anything. I think we can do it again. But it'll be a battle. That game, I'm going to have 4 people recording, so that's going to be a game that we're going to have multiple angles, and it'll be really cool to watch. And Synergy, I'm hoping will have the same. So no matter what, you will see that match if we play them.
Cool. Anyway, that's us for this week. Thanks for watching, and peace, I guess. Tune in next week. Will we have the guests? I'm hoping to get the winners on from that. Next week's finals.
Yes, I'll try and be in touch with the people who are involved in the finals. Try and get them on the show.
When is the finals? It says next
March
Saturday.
9th. March 9th. Yeah.
Okay, so I guess we may do this a day later next week just to make sure we can get everyone on.
Yes, that'd be awesome.
And do a post-finals thing. But yeah, everybody, thanks for watching. We'll be back hopefully next week. Probably a day late though. But anyway. Cheers, thanks for watching.